Hello and welcome to the Colored Gemstone Academy. I am your instructor, Paul Deasy, and this is my YouTube channel, Paul Deasy Gemstones. This week's lesson, one of my favorites, is going to be on the gemstone called amethyst. Look at that little beauty there. Actually, I'll show you a round one too. Amethyst is very near and dear to my heart, not just because it is my birthstone, but it is the most popular and arguably the most expensive member of the quartz family of gemstones. Now let me first get some of the vital statistics out of the way. Some of them you probably don't need to know, and some of them that you'll definitely want to know. For example, it is quartz in the quartz family of gemstones, and it has a chemical structure, and that is called silicon dioxide. That's what makes up an amethyst. The color comes essentially from iron, and you'll see that in the basalt rock I'm going to talk about in a little bit. So do you need to know the chemical composition? Probably not. The crystal structure is trigonal. Do you need to know that? Probably not. But why do we go through those different vital statistics? That's how a gem gets identified as a quartz, because of the trigonal crystal structure, and as an amethyst because of the silicon dioxide and the color of the purple. Now the ones that I think you really need to pay attention to would be things like the hardness. The hardness is a 7 on the Mohs scale of hardness, not the hardest, but certainly not the least hard. So it's something that you can wear every single day. Likewise, you have a toughness that is rated as good. Now remember, hardness, the ability to withstand scratching; toughness, the ability to withstand fracturing and cracking altogether. So good on toughness, 7 on the hardness. Refractive index is a 1.54 to 1.55. What does that mean? That is the sparkle of that amethyst. The sparkle of the amethyst is not going to be that of a diamond, which is a 2.42, but it's a pretty good sparkle on a faceted stone. Specific gravity, that's going to come in at 2.65. Now what does that mean? Well, specific gravity is the density or the heft of that gemstone. When you think about sapphires being a 4 on a specific gravity and amethyst being a 2.65, that means that if you had an amethyst and sapphire of the same size, the amethyst is actually going to be bigger. So you'll get more of a look for the carat weight in an amethyst than you would in a sapphire. Birthstone, that is for the month of February. It is also the 6th anniversary stone. So if you're looking for more reasons to get that beautiful amethyst, that would be another way to do it. And as a zodiac stone, it would be a Pisces, which is from February the 22nd through March the 21st. So if you were born in that range, then this would be your stone. Now let's talk really what amethyst is. Amethyst is a purple variety of quartz. And as I mentioned, this is a geode that would have come out of the ground in an amethyst mine. Let me show you the back of it. The back of it, this is the rock that it is born in, and that is called basalt, which is an igneous rock formation that is in magnesium-rich or iron-rich environments, and that is where you're usually going to find your amethyst in there. But remember, amethyst is the purple variety of quartz. And now I'm going to get a little bit, this is going to be my mad face. It is the purple variety of quartz, period. If you ever heard somebody say, hey, I have a green amethyst, there is no such thing as a green amethyst. Is there a green variety of quartz? Yes, there is, and that's going to be called praisielite quartz. Is there a white variety of quartz? Yes, people call that white quartz. Is there a yellow variety of quartz? Yes, that is called citrine. But it drives me crazy when people on either shopping channels or in jewelry stores start talking about, I have the very rare green amethyst. It is not green amethyst. Amethyst is the purple variety of quartz, period. End of discussion. Okay, are we good on that? I hope we are. Okay, let's also talk, since I talked about the toughness and the hardness of the stone, and the what about how does it respond to heat, light, and chemicals? Well, heat can alter the change, the color of the quartz, and also it could, at really high temperatures, it could crack. So heat can crack or change the color. Light, some varieties of amethyst might fade in prolonged exposure to sunlight, but it's not something I think you have to worry about. And as far as chemicals, like I say with almost all of your gemstones, avoid any caustic cleaning products or any acids on that. Now, when they talk about the treatment of amethyst, this can be extremely misleading. Most books that you read, when it talks about treatments of amethyst, will say that amethyst is heated. Well, generally speaking, amethyst is not heated to create the color. As a matter of fact, if you're in the mine, and I'll show you some pictures of the mine a little bit later, when we're searching for an amethyst geode and we don't see the purple color in there, they will blast that geode, bring the little pieces back, put it in an oven, heat it up, I think it's 850 degrees Celsius or something like that, and that amethyst will become citrine. So even though they'll say amethyst is heated, it's not heat treated to get amethyst. Most of the purple amethyst that you see in that or this other geode, what you're going to see is the natural color that occurred in that amethyst. Now, given what I've just told you about all of that heat, light, chemicals, hardness, toughness, stability, what about care and cleaning for your amethyst that you're going to wear every single day? Well, steam cleaning, I would recommend not. Why? We just talked about how heat can affect that stone. So I would not recommend steam cleaning your amethyst. What about ultrasonics? Ultrasonics are okay. However, with the caveat, and I talked about this in my care and cleaning chapter, the reason I say it's okay, yes, you can do it, but remember, ultrasonics over time can shake a stone loose from its mounting from the prongs. So you have to know what you're doing, or you have to be able to tighten those prongs. So that's okay. Otherwise, warm soapy waters always is going to be your best bet. Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about the stories of amethyst and how it became to be as far as folklore and legends are concerned. So there is a god named Bacchus, the Roman god of wine. And he was so irritated with human beings, as am I sometimes, but he swore that the next mortal that crossed his path, he was going to feed them to the tigers. Now, unfortunately, there was a maiden by the name of Amethyst, and she happened to cross in front of his path on her way to pay tribute to Diana. Now, Diana was the goddess of fertility, nature, and childbirth. And she saw what was about to happen, and to protect Amethyst, she turned her into a pillar of clear quartz, so she could not be fed to the tigers. And Bacchus, the god of wine, was so impressed and taken by that miracle that he decided to pour wine over that clear quartz, and thus amethyst was born. Now, amethyst comes from a word amethusto or amethustus or something like that, which means not drunk. So another folklore and legend says that it will prevent drunkenness. Now, I have tested this many times. It is not true. So don't think that you can have your amethyst, overdrink, and not get pulled over by the police. You need to absolutely drive not under the influence. But that is amethyst. Now, another thing I want you to know about amethyst, and this will be my final thought, and then I'll take you a little bit into the mines. Amethyst was before the 21st century, before the turn of the 20th century, let's say, was mainly mined in Russia. And it was one of the most expensive gemstones on Earth at that time. Why? Because it just wasn't readily available. You have the purple, royal purple, and it was back then only royalty or aristocracy or high members of the church like the Pope would be able to afford and to wear amethyst. Around the turn of the 20th century is when huge deposits were found in South America, specifically talking about Brazil, Uruguay, Bolivia, places like that, where it became very plentiful and the price dropped so that most of us can now afford a pretty good looking amethyst. Now, there are other places that it is found. It has been mined in Australia, in Germany, in Madagascar, Namibia, Sri Lanka, Canada, India, USA, Mexico, and Zambia. The two main sources you need to be concerned with would be Brazil and Uruguay. That's where I think really the finest material comes from. And Africa. Now, Africa is really interesting because the amethyst that's coming from Africa has a much deeper color, but maybe not necessarily the clarity that you're used to seeing in your amethyst. So I think the only thing left to talk about is there aren't that many varieties of purple, clear, faceted gemstones available to you. Actually, not that many purple gemstones at all. But when I think about the purple gemstones, and amethyst is right up there, there's not a lot of choices. Now, there's a purple diamond. I don't find any purple diamonds that I've seen that are as deep in color as you might see with the amethyst. A couple of years ago, became very, very popular for a purple variety of garnet. And I'm not just talking about rhodolite. Rhodolite is more of a rhododendron color of garnet. But there's a purple variety of garnet that can look quite a bit like a very good amethyst. But my point would be, what is the point? Because you have to pay so much more for a purple garnet than a purple amethyst. Why bother? Then you have a couple of others like a fluorite. Now, fluorite, again, I find that color to be a little bit lighter, but you also have the disadvantage in the fluorite of a hardness of only 4. You could probably get it for cheaper than the amethyst, but it's not going to be as durable or as wearable every day as that would be. So that's going to, I think, in case I think of something else in the next 2 seconds, that's going to end my lesson on the gem lesson of amethyst. And if you like what you're hearing, right down there in that corner is where you hit that subscribe button. If you do that, that will help me out quite a bit. And if you would like to get notified, there's a little bell. After you subscribe, you click on that bell and you'll be notified when the next Color Gemstone Academy video is ready to be seen. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.